Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? And welcome back to BRL. We are here for season 6, round 3 at Sunnyside, Florida. We're in Miami. Um, we can all admit that Miami isn't exactly the pinnacle of the Formula One circuit, but I think it's fair to say with this lot of drivers, we could have just about anything occur. And I think that's the important bit here, isn't it? Yeah, let's go with that. So we have got round 3, obviously. So the title championship is well underway. We've actually already beginning to see uh, a bit of a a bit of a title fight already coming into play. Let's take a very quick look at the driver's standings in particular, and we'll see Mr. Cookie sits at the top of the top of the tables, but Kresnos just a point behind, 49 to 48 points across the first 2 races respectively, and then Jackalacco is only another 8 points back on 40. So there's a bit of a gap beginning to form between P2 and P3, so it might be a two-way fight for the title at the moment. But do remember, we've had 2 of 10 races, so we've still got quite a long way to go. So don't be thinking, oh yeah, we're already done. It's Dusty, Cookie's won the championship, or it's just going to be Cookie and Kresnos. Short Marcus is still in the mix because he didn't race last time out. J Horse has had a horrible outing so far, so he sits towards the bottom of the tables. So these drivers that we know are really quite good, just haven't quite gotten back into their rhythm yet. So it's not exactly down and out for everybody just yet, but it's beginning to give us a semi-decent idea as to what the future might hold. Looking at the team standings, the constructors, and we see kind of a roughly similar story, really. Williams, really strong start for them, 58 points on the table for them. Alfa Romeo, 10 points behind, and really, Alfa Romeo won't be aiming for the top today. All they want to care about is Ferrari, because they're a point behind. Ferrari have gone from being one of the notoriously best teams in this league, and then they went and became the notoriously awful team, and now they're picking back up. They really are 47 points for them at the moment. So, and do remember, Alfa Romeo 48 points. That's Mr. 48 of the 58 points are Mr. Cookie. But 47 of 47. You want to take just a quick look back at this. Hang on a minute, that doesn't work. How can Kresnos be on 48 points, but the constructor standing says Ferrari's on 47? Something is wrong. I can feel it. Just a feeling, but there we go. Anyway, so whilst I've been talking to you, as per usual, some racing's been going on in the background. We should probably go and look at that, shouldn't we? Welcome. Here we are. We're in Miami. I've forgotten to do all of my track map stuff, so let's just do that for now. And then gap to leader. Literally only a couple of people have put in laps so far. So really nothing too much to worry about at the moment. Mr. Cookie's on a fast lap. We'll watch him as he is absolutely gunning it already. I'm going to just turn that up ever so slightly, but do tell me if that's too loud or too quiet or anything, because the last thing we want is for it to, all be a little bit wrong. So, fastest first sector. Prodigy goes fastest, 127.9. Anthony goes faster still, 127, 127.7 for Blackbone. So times are really are beginning to come in now. As trying to navigate this very smoked up section by the looks of it, as the sun comes gleaming down onto the drivers as they do navigate their way through the track, and are doing so quite well, to say the least. So yeah, Miami, let's talk about the track first of all. It's an interesting one, isn't it, Miami? I mean, I don't mind it. Like, don't get me wrong, I've seen better Formula One circuits, and trust me, this Madrid Grand Prix is going to be absolutely terrible in comparison. Um, but I've seen worse as well. I think the close walls definitely do add an element of additional work that needs to be done. Like, you really do have to, make sure you are properly on the money. Otherwise, it does go horribly, horribly wrong for you. So that'll be something that they do have to pay attention of. I think like Saudi Arabia, it's the same kind of story. But at the same time, it's a very flowing circuit, isn't it? Lots of, it almost, in some remarks, I know this is going to seem like a very weird similarity, but I kind of make it a little bit similar to Japan in its sort of flowiness and high speed corners. Obviously, Saudi Arabia is a really good representation of it. It's just funny that somehow the Saudis and the Americans have done something the same. Um, but it's a very flowing circuit, but then it has these tight twisty sections, which is something that we do then see in Japan as well. The final chicane just being a prime example of it. Um, so yeah, it's a good amalgamation of like different features we like from other tracks, and I'm just really hoping that we get some competitive racing out of it. That's really all we ever ask for, isn't it? We've been on board with Kresnos this entire run. He went for a slow first fast lap, and now he's just gone top of the timing sheets. We saw Cookie earlier. He went top by a considerable amount. Kresnos beating that out still. That's nearly half a second between first and third. So Kresnos and Cookie kind of in their own league at the moment. They've got some work to be done. But I think other drivers as well, they know that they've got to bring up the pace. This is someone who I'd like to, expect to help bring up the pace as well. J Horse, he's notorious for his quick qualifyings and for his strong race performances, but obviously it hasn't been quite the best start for him, has it? It's 9 points across 2 races, so it's in desperate need of improvement for him. But hopefully he can get it done, as we do indeed start his lap. Now we'll talk about the track whilst he goes for it. So we go into sector 1, and this is a very sort of S's kind of section of the track. You're just following a pretty much one line throughout this entire first sector, especially through these S's. Try and go side by side through these S's, you're losing like 5-6 seconds. It's so much time lost. I really like that sort of almost double left-hander, and apparently J-Horse doesn't like it. Otherwise, the car would have stuck to the floor. But oh well, he's got plenty of time to recharge the ERS, to get round and go another lap. Either that, or he comes in and sort of bins off the banker lap, and he goes for a fresh set and goes again. I think it's logical. I think it's definitely possible. I wouldn't put it past him to go for it. It's a difficult one, really, actually, as to what sort of decision he makes, because he's come out later than everybody else. If you come out early, it's pretty simple to go, oh yeah, we'll just go another lap. But obviously, he's a little bit more time constrained. If he goes for another lap now, he's not going to get another 2 flying laps in. But then he'll get a flying lap in here and a flying lap in there. So he's still going to get 2 flying laps. But if he goes in later, he's going to get 2 flying laps on fresh tyres. And by the looks of it, he hasn't been charging his ERS. So he is coming in. So obviously he's thought of that logic as we've been talking about it, which is delightful. Right. Who's out on track? Let's have a look. Anthony's out on track. He's just going through sector 1 at the moment. He's considerably up on his time. He's gone and put purple sector 1. But he is going to have to, put in a decent sector 2 time if he wants to pull this off. There's a yellow flag there. I think that's a Williams stopped on track. Not sure. Might be Kodoy. Either way, coming through sector 2, it's pretty solid. He looks quite stable through the chicane, which will be a nightmare for stability because obviously these ground effect. All right, Daedric, how are you, mate? Sorry, it is an issue for the stability of these cars because they're ground effect cars. They get a lot of their downforce from being close to the floor. If they're not close to the floor, they've got no downforce. So going through that chicane can be a bit of a nightmare feel. Ooh, big lock up there as a cloud of smoke comes through. And just gets Larry at the final hurdle as he comes into the pit lane. A few more people now out on track as Tommy just goes P3 there with a very big improvement on his time. It doesn't quite put him up with the top runners, about 2/10 off from the leader, but it certainly gives him a good starting point to work from. Kresnos is on an out lap as well as his teammate who is, I think, just about to start a lap. Yes, he is. Prodigy is through next. I don't know what sort of time he's aiming for. He is on a fast lap. Coming through now, it's going to be a 1:27.4. Big improvements for him. Closing that gap more, even more now to those front runners. Valiant's just done a lap. That put in P5. Pablos will be coming through probably next, really. Mercedes are actually next. That's Jackalacco, though, significantly up on his time. He'll be coming into the pit lane. So, yeah, we'll continue to watch Pablos, I think. It'll be the two Aston Martins through next, both on outlaps, though. And then it's probably Tommy, isn't it? Yeah, he's the only Alfa Romeo. So, definitely Tommy after the two Astons. Pablos goes a P5 with that improvement. It's nearly a second improvement. So, definitely, half a second improvement. Definitely putting on a bit more pace as Jezadego just starting a lap, and J-Horse will be starting a lap just after him. Kresnos is on an outlap. He'll be starting very soon as the other Mercedes, Blackbone, he is just starting a lap. Most people are starting laps at the moment. Who shall we watch? Let's watch Kresnos because you know he's going to be going for extending his pole time. He's currently still pole. How's PRL Tier 1? It's going pretty well, actually. I couldn't do last race because I was at Cambridge University doing a lecture. Well, not doing a lecture, watching a lecture. I'm not that important. So yeah, it was actually that was pretty decent. But yeah, so far the first race was quite good actually. Just hoping for it to get better from there. Oh, purple sector 1 from Kresnos. Pretty decent start for him. Mr. Cookie's also started his lap, so we'll follow him after Kresnos has finished. So going through, I find this one of the most interesting corners because it's a tight that long right-hander into sort of a left, long right, and then into a left again. It's probably my favourite corner of the track. As he's, this is the issue though. He's a 10th up on his time, but he's now going to have to run with the issue of traffic coming through the last corner and onto the back straight. He might be able to get a bit of slip out of these drivers in front of him, which would be a huge benefit if it works. Blackbone goes fast. That's a very quick time from Blackbone. Kresnos improves on his time. Will Mr. Cookie improve on his time? He looks to be set to go pole position, or at least provisional pole for now. So Blackbone, as you say, improved. He's split Kresnos and Mr. Cookie. He's still split Kresnos and Mr. Cookie when Kresnos hadn't finished his time. Mr. Cookie, across the line, provisional pole by some amount as well, 10th and a half. So that is going to be an important one to keep watch of. J-Horse, I think, starting... no, I don't know what J-Horse is doing here, you know. He has put a time on the board. Oh, yeah, no, of course, because he binned off his first lap, didn't he? So that's his first lap. So he's gone P6 at the moment. He's now on his in. Right, yeah, no, that makes so much more sense. Jezza as well, he's done his lap. He goes P10. And Kodoy, currently on a lap. That looks like to me. Yes, it is. It's a purple sector too. It's going to have to be a big benefit in sector 3 if he wants to gain a position. He's going to have to do about 3/10 in this corner alone if he wants to go up into top 11. it's going to be even more so if he wants to go to the top 10. It's actually quite wide margins exactly where he is. He's on that line of the margin, and he is going to improve. And all it's going to do is close that gap to P11 rather than take the place itself. So, let's take a look. Who else is out on track? He's just set a time. It was 0.3 faster, so that puts him at P8. I think he was in probably P10 before that, I'm going to guess, based on the improvement time. Oh, Marek is about to come across the line. Let's see whether he can gain any positions. He is. He jumps up to P11, matching pretty much with his teammate R. Henson. R. Henson going ever so slightly slower by 0.04 of a second. And interesting enough, oh, I thought that was another Haas. It's not. It's an AlphaTauri, or should I say now, a Visa Cash App Racing Bulls Formula One team. That's so catchy, isn't it? It's awful. I think we all make a pact. We all call it Toro Rosso. In my opinion, we call it Toro Rosso. I think that's a good idea, don't you think? I think it's a great idea, personally. Or just Racing Bulls, though that is quite funny. Just not whatever they've called it. It's like we don't call Mercedes, Petronas AMG, Mercedes AMG Formula One, or whatever their name is. It's a dead long name as well. Mr. Cookie's retired. Oh, right. So he doesn't want to go out for another lap. Okay. Brave. But okay. I mean, I know you've got a bit of an advantage to Kresnos, but he can certainly take that back. Right. It's the last moments of qualifying. It's probably my favourite time. I love the end of quali. It's just a time where literally anything can happen. If anything can happen, it will happen. That's kind of just another rule. Oh, you know what? We'll watch J-Horse because he's going to be running through. Actually, no. We'll cut to Tommy or who's that? Pablos, I think, just in front. Yes. The McLaren just in front of that. Anthony is ahead. Yeah, right. Okay, we'll watch Anthony. Less Jacalaco. Oh, I'm getting good at this. There's a hash just in front of him as well. I don't know whether that must be our Henson. Oh, I'm getting good at this. Right, okay. So our Henson, then Jacalaco, then Tommy, then J-Horse, then Kadum, then Kresnos, then Blackbone. Right, okay. So many drivers that we've got to watch. But our Henson will be the first man to come across the line after the checkered flag. So this is the final chance for him to get any kind of position. Round the final corner and across the line, it's going to remain, P11. Cut to Jacalaco, he's front wingless. Then to Anthony, how's he going to get along? He's in P10 at the moment. That jumps up to P7. That's very good for him. Pablos, P8 at the moment. How's it going to improve? It's going to improve to P4 of all things. Tommy's going to now come through next. It's a little bit of improvement to Sector 2, and it's going to be just enough for a place. And then it is through J-Horse next. Yes, it's J-Horse. Through he comes. How's he going to get on? He's 0.4 off of the lead at the moment. Is it going to be? It's going to be provisional pole position, but only for now. Is it going to be enough to stay there, though? I mean, Kresnos is going to have to put up one hell of a fight if he's going to do it. Prodigy, he goes P5. Now, next one through is Kresnos, and then it's Blackbone, and then it's immediately the end of quali. So, Kresnos, the second to last man through, he goes pole. Blackbone, he doesn't. So it will be Kresnos sitting at a pole position with J-Horse just behind. Mr. Cookie opting to not go for that lap. And he's gone from P1 to P4 in a matter of seconds. That is what I like to call not good. That's not what you want. So, out the back of the Hard Rock Stadium, let's give us a rundown of that. We've got Kresnos in Ferrari on pole position and J-Horse joining him on the front row. A Blackbone and Mr. Cookie on the second. Prodigy and Pablos on the third. Tommy and Anthony on the fourth. And Valiant and Jezza on the fifth. Caden R. Henson on the sixth. Marak and Kodoy on the seventh. And Jackalacko Hazard on the eighth. Alligator will be on the ninth. All by himself because we've only got 17 drivers. I've done awful in Tier 2 quali. P11 and 15, I bottled it. Oh, no, right, come on. You can do this. You can do this. Just turn it around, Jimmy. Just get your head down. Go for it. You've got this in the bag. Right, so drivers just making their final adjustments before they'll be getting started. Right, we should be getting started a dead last 8 seconds. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jimmy. You'll be all right. Here we go. In other news, we've got 5 lights here in Miami, and no one started. And then they've all started. Right, Kresnos leads off of the front, but it's not exactly the acceleration off the front he's going to have needed. J-Horse will be able to try and go up the inside here, but I think Kresnos has defended it nicely. Yes, he has. Blackbone just behind him. Prodigy getting himself through, as well as Tommy just trying to sweep it around the outside here. Can he go for the dive bomb at the left-hander? Yes, he can. Tommy sneaks his way through into P3 as Mr. Cookie's had an absolutely horrendous race start. He's fallen all the way down to P7 immediately. And there's Prodigy and Pablos switching around as well. Pablos getting the inside line here, but that could open an opportunity for Mr. Cookies to get past. Yes, it has, as we've got a lot going on. As Kadem has fallen down to the back of the grid. I think he started about P12-ish. Mr. Cookie under threat from Pablos, who's now going to try and swing it around the outside. He's going to have to get the move done around the outside at this corner if he wants to get it done. It's not quite going to be. If anything, he's now under pressure from Prodigy, from the 2 Red Bulls behind. They are putting the pressure on him, aren't they just? In fact, at the moment, they're currently deliberating about who wants to sit at the front, and that's going to allow the McLaren and T-Bell Anthony to get himself through and make himself in a nice Red Bull sandwich. They did not do a very good job at coordinating that. Let's check back up to the front of the grid because kind of neglected that a little bit, and it is absolute chaos at the moment. Kresnos just about leads at the moment, and he's got a fair bit of a gap, and he's going to have even more of a one because Blackbone is going down the inside here at J-Horse. That's going to slow those two down, but who's going to be able to come out in front and into P2? Blackbone gets the ever so slight better acceleration, but J-Horse with a slightly longer bit of track gets that bit more grip down, and he pushes himself back up into P2, but Tommy isn't done yet. He wants to go for the move now, and he's going to go for it, and he gets it at turn 1. Just that little bit of better acceleration out of the back of turn 1, just being able to get the actual correct line, allowing him to comfortably overtake. Well, a little bit of chaos right at the very start of the race and right at the front of the race, which is something that Whoa, J-Horse has properly gone for that move. I've got to say the camera angles did not do that justice, that we didn't have a clue that that was going to happen. Wow, J-Horse has absolutely shone through there and has pushed Tommy back to P3, so he's got some work to get done now. Mr. Cookie's gained a couple of positions. We saw those happen just earlier. He's now back up to P5 as he takes a bit of an interesting line. He's not closing up to that wall like everybody else has. Not too sure why, but yeah. Kresnos, though, he's having an absolutely wonderful race at the moment in comparison. From P2 down to P7 is this fight at the moment, which is utterly brilliant. Now heading down onto the back straight. Let's see who can get the run they need. Everybody's looking very pinched together, but no one side by side. I think J-Horse has a little look, tries to get in a little bit of clean areas just to prevent him from, running right into the back of the Ferrari. But he's certainly caught up quite a bit there, hasn't he, down that back straight. DRS will be opened now, as there we go. People beginning to set some of the fastest time so far. Mr. Cookie currently holding that fastest time as, a little bit of contact there between Tommy and J-Horse, and that spins J-Horse round, and it's gone from a great start to the race to feeling like it's happening all over again. He's joining his teammate down in P11 and P12 as J-Horse slots back into the racing scene. And it's just gone horribly wrong for the Aston Martin driver. This move has not been considered very well received for him. Big benefits, though, for everybody else. That gains everyone else a place. Issue is, though, it's allowed Kresnos to pull away even further. 1.4 seconds now, that gap, so that means he's no longer in DRS zone, which means he can sort of try and get away with this. And look at this, Tommy trying to go for the move down the inside of the Mercedes. He's not quite going to get it. He's going to have to try and go around the outside, or maybe go up for the switchback. It's not quite going to work, but Tommy, they're showing that he is interested in getting himself past pretty quickly. Righty, back down the main straight we go. One driver less this time round. Hopefully, we see maybe a move once again. Mr. Cookie's looking like it. Tommy's looking even more like it. He's going to try it. He wants to use the most of these soft tyres he can, as the Mercedes is pushed wide a little bit. I don't know whether he was pushed wide or whether he just opted to run a lot wider than he needed to be. Either way, that's letting both Tommy and Mr. Cookie through. Mr. Cookie's going to be able to use the benefits of DRS to let himself catch up to Tommy. As obviously, Tommy's going to have a huge advantage here now because he's on those soft tyres. He should probably, in theory, be able to break out of this DRS chain and get himself into a position where he can now start to hunt down Kresnos. Issue is, though, Mr. Cookie will definitely want to stay within DRS with every fighting inch of his life, because without DRS he is a little bit screwed. So and down the straights as well, having soft tyres don't help. You're just as fast down the straight whether you're on softs or hards. So considering the fact we've got a very, very long back straight in which Mr. Cookie can gain time and force Tommy into a defensive position where the Mercedes has absolutely launched one. I think he made a little bit of contact there with the Alfa Romeo, but that's allowed Mr. Cookie to sneak it up the inside. Absolutely stunning good move, and just capitalizing on the mistake of somebody else. A little bit of contact, I think, being made here in the middle between Prodigy, Pablos, and possibly Backbone as well. I'm not too sure. They're just so densely packed together. It's actually really difficult to understand sort of who's where and what's what. I think we're going to go for 2x2. It's like Noah's Ark coming down this main straight. The Red Bull, I think, is going to be the big winner out of this. Prodigy's going to have it down the inside. Can he get it done? The McLaren runs really wide and with a little bit of a lock up at the second half of that corner. And the AlphaTauri and Mercedes make a little bit of contact, but they continue running nevertheless. The AlphaTauri will have a good run out there, and he will get himself past the Mercedes. And also, by the looks of it, the McLaren, after having that little lock up, is going to try and go for a move. And Blackburn could be demoted all the way down to P7 here. Yes, he is. The McLaren gets himself past very nicely. That was very, very close. As there goes J-Horse just getting himself past Jezza. Interestingly enough, right, he's been spun round right at the very start of this race, and now he's catching up to the back of the front running train. Okay, the front running train is beginning to split a little bit. Kresnos, 2.6 seconds. He's got a nice clear gap now. But Mr. Cookie's beginning to break away as well. 1.3 that gap is. I wouldn't say it's exactly... what's happening just up here? Sorry, I didn't even notice that these two were going side by side. AlphaTauri's got the inside line, but now it will be the Alfa Romeos. Can he get it past? No, the AlphaTauri is going to absolutely launch one up the inside and just about gets past, but I don't really know how much contact was being made in that situation. It could have been quite a lot. Two cars don't go around that section of the track very well, I'll be totally honest. But yeah, as I was saying, J-Horse now, catching up to the back of these runners and catching up at quite a rate of knots as well. So expect him to get back into this fight fairly quickly after he left it, which is actually quite nice to see that everybody is staying everybody, right, is staying really densely packed together here. I'm saying it's a fight for the run. It is literally a fight from P4 to at least Oh, JOS had a little look there. Decided not to opt for it in the end as marker. Oh, no, that's just Kadum coming into the pit zone. No, this is a fight, right, from P4 down to P12. So it's nearly just like the first lap shenanigans, except for the fact that it's lap 6. So it's quite amazing, to be honest, that, you know, we've kept this racing standard going for just quite as long as we have. So Anthony now running on the back of Tommy, looking very dangerous indeed. In fact, I think he's going to go for the move very early on in this straight as they hook round the left-hand side, and he does manage to sweep himself past, even though having to travel a little bit longer distance. And I think the Mercedes as well is going to want to try and go for a move. Can Blackburn get it in the braking zone? Not quite, it seems. He's going to have to take it around the outside, but the Alfa Romeo's soft tyres should still be strong enough to keep himself in front. Yes, it is, and all of a sudden that's opened the door for the Rebel to absolutely sweep it around the outside. He's going to have to get to the inside, slight little corner cut. I don't know whether that picks him up a penalty or not, or at least a warning at the very minimum as J-Horse tries to go around the outside. Now it's going to be from bad to worse for Blackbone. If J-Horse manages to pull this off, yes, he does. Jezza as well sitting behind. That's also a huge possibility for somebody to be able to try and get past. But I think just towards the back here, it's actually a lot more contested than anywhere else at the moment. The Mercedes has gone for the dive bomb of a century, and it's not going to work. He's just gone in far too much, and that opens a door for Jezza to get himself through as well. Only issue is that has opened a bit of a gap to the car in front, who is going for a move around the outside, cuts to the inside, gets it done. There we go. Easy as pie, eh? Easy as pie. The gaps are beginning to open a little bit. I cannot lie. Don't get me wrong, like Pablos and Prodigy, still very close together. But then TPL Anthony's a fair bit behind. Balance further behind still. Tommy's still kind of within the region. And so J-Horse. Oh! What on earth happened there? It looked like almost Tommy brake checked. That made absolutely no sense. What on earth just happened? Either way, J-Horse has lost a bit of his front wing because of that, and hence why he's falling down the back of the grid now. But that was so random. Whether Tommy got loose or something and had to slam on the brakes just to, you know, try and keep the car in check, I'm not too sure. Either way, right, that's probably one of the most bizarre things I've seen in quite some time, if I'm honest. As what's that? Tommy there getting past Hazard. Only just though, but I think he is diving into the pit lane. Yes, he is. As well as, unsurprisingly, J-Horse. That front wing damage was doing him absolute nightmares. So, unsurprisingly, yes, he has indeed come in. As people just moving around there because of those changes being made. I'm noticing a bit of jittering from my Elgato. So whilst nothing major is going on right this second, I might, so long as TPL Anthony doesn't go for a move here, and I think he's going to. Nope, he holds back. I'm going to quickly go into properties. Load. Done. So I know the screen froze for just a second there, but there we go. So I've just, sorry, just in case you're wondering, I've just dropped down the quality from 1080 to 720. Hopefully that should remove some of the jittering that I've noticed, because as much as I love this bit of kit, it's getting old. It's getting old. As by the looks of it, Blackburn just getting himself past Balint there. Nicely done. Down that main straight, it's a pretty common place to go for a move. Tommy, there we go, leaving the session after he DNF'd. Not sure what happened there. Might see if he's just popped anything in admin. No. I think, you know what, right? This is the fight to watch right here. Anthony and Prodigy going literally tit for tat. They are so close to one another throughout this entire track. I think he's going to be able to get a move around the outside. Yes, he is. There we go. Gets it in the braking zone. Easy as pie. Blackbone as well, putting huge amounts of pressure on Balin. As I think just re-overtaken in quite a surprising manner. So he's going to have to get that overtake done once again. J-Horse gaining a position on Kodoy there. Gets himself up to P12. Should we take a quick look at tyres and see what's happening? Most people are on the mediums. That is the common theme there I'm seeing. Just mediums. Apparently Tommy is having issues with his controller inputs. Right. Okay. That makes a bit more sense. As to why he sort of just stopped suddenly. Obviously, J-Horse, I imagine, won't be best pleased. But at least I for a second then I thought it was like Tommy raging, and I was like, that's not Tommy at all. So which is why I was just so confused about what had happened. But controller input issues seems much more logical. I mean, we're quite lucky that it's my left one, but I'm beginning to develop a bit of stick drift on my controller. Luckily, it's not the forwards back camera angles one. Otherwise, we would be in a nightmarish situation. You constantly be looking right or something. But no, it's the left stick. So we're all right. Well, this is... Hey, hello, they've caught up. He's really caught up. I've only just noticed how close they are. Hello. Right, I think Mr. Cookie might go for it. Not this lap, no. Next lap, though, yes. Mr. Cookie was, what, about 2 point something seconds? 2.6 seconds about 5 or so laps ago. He's now less than a tenth. And I think he's going to go for it around the outside. We've got a horrible camera angle to watch it from. But yes, he's passed. As the Ferrari just slots into their P2. Mr. Cookie takes the lead of this race. Lap 11 of 29. So he's still got quite a way to go. About a third of this race done. He's going to have to work still very hard if he wants to keep this lead. As Kresnos is going to have an amazing opportunity down this back straight. As J-Horse, there we go, putting in the fastest lap on hards, interestingly enough. But they are only 3 laps old. I don't know why I didn't put an S on the end of lap. But nevertheless, Mr. Cookie into the lead, and TPL Anthony looking to... has gotten past Pablos there once again. That's almost a bit of a common theme we're getting now. Those two fighting almost constantly as Blackbone and Jezza going side by side. Blackbone with the inside line. Can he keep it? The Aston Martin's going to have to really try. Oh, that was a huge amount of oversteer. But he's managed to keep it in check. And indeed, he does get himself in front with, honestly, I'm going to say one of the most impressive moves I've seen so far this season. Just with the rear end kicking out like that, you would just not expect anybody to be able to hold it in place. As there we go, Pablos getting himself back past TPL Anthony once again. I feel like that's becoming a little bit of a recurring theme, don't you? As Jack Alacco retires from the session in the pit lane, so no likelihood of a safety car. As the Haas, there you go, getting through Blackbone there, just down that final corner, that final little stretch before they hit the DRS zone. And he just has to defend fairly nicely to keep himself in front. But he had a slight issue of Jezza being in the way that he had to, avoid first. Which I think he just about managed it. But Blackbone isn't exactly off of his tail just yet, shall we put it as. Kresnos 6/10 back, so he's beginning to lose a little bit of time, but I wouldn't say a load of time. DRS is going to help him out massively here as well. He's going to be able to keep himself in check, if not be able to get himself past. No, Little bit too close. As there we go. They've swapped around once again. TPL Anthony gets himself up to P3. Let's see if anybody else is brave enough for to go to a move into this corner. I think I quite like the moves happening in this corner at the moment. As J-Horse, by the looks of it, trying to get past Caden. DRS now open for him. He will go around the outside is his choice. And the move is made. No, it's not. The Ferrari's come back to bite. Has pushed him off a little bit there. I think probably ought to concede that position after that entanglement. But I think he's going to keep himself in front. Yeah, he doesn't look to be letting through. But I guess you wouldn't really let through. You'd let through down the back straight, wouldn't you? You know, give the driver a tad of DRS, move over to the side, and let him through, in my opinion. As there we go, J-Horse does indeed get past. No real, a little bit of congestion from Caden there into that final corner. Hazard with a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's one of the last things you want, man. He'll have to now deal with that. Has he paid the penalty off already? No. So he'll have to wait until the next pit stop for him to be able to pay the penalty. Kresnos is in a bit of trouble here because he's just about managed to keep himself in DR. No, he hasn't. He hasn't kept himself in DRS. Luckily, the slipstream is getting him to lose a bit of time. But had he not have slipstream, he'd have been in quite a lot of trouble there because he was losing. He was nearly out of the second, and that is quite detrimental around this track because you've got two long DRS zones and then one significantly shorter one. So you have got to be very, very careful when navigating. The last thing you want is to get any kind of issues. What's that? McLaren just at the back there. TPL Anthony once again trying to get the move on Pablos. We're saying this like it's not that big of a deal. This is for a podium position, you know. This is quite an important moves to be made. As Jezza there getting himself past our Henson. Kresnos into the pit lane. He's had enough of those medium tyres, so he indeed has come in. And so has TPL Anthony. So has Prodigy. So has the teammate Balint. This could be interesting. Is Balint going to have to wait? Yes, he is. He's going to have to stop and wait for a moment as Innie comes and gets himself stopped. He will not be happy with that. That's a valuable couple of seconds there he's lost because he came in at the same time as his teammate. It's something that teams always try and avoid, but issue is when you're not working side by side with your teammate, when you're not communicating with your teammate, you have absolutely no idea when they're due to come in. And you haven't got a race engineer to tell you until they've opted to come into the pits. So I'm guessing that's the optimal strategy, and they've both gone for it. Right. Well, like we've just gone from like 14 laps of like everything happening, and now whoa, Cadam's out. Count back here. What's happened? By the looks of it, he's just opted to retire rather than well, obviously he hasn't crashed out because the car's still moving. So is it gonna? It's gonna stop there. Is that gonna cause a safety car? Not by the looks of it, no. Thank God. Sorry, do excuse the silence for a moment. I just had the coughing fit of a lifetime. That's 3/10. I'm interested. I am very interested, in fact. In fact, that's 2/10. I'm even more interested. How are these two coming along? They're going through the start-finish straight that close together. That's interesting. You don't see many people saying this close for this particularly long. Maybe Hazard is faster than Marek. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, literally, I swear, it's always the case, right? Whenever I watch something, something else happens. Like, whenever I have to make a split decision difference between watching one thing or watching another thing, it's always the thing I choose not to watch that ends up being interesting. Shall I tell you one thing as well? Kresnos has been only subtly but gaining time on Cookie over the course of the. Sorry. Oh my god, that was atrocious yawn. Over the 3 laps he's done now. Mr. Cookie needs to come in at some point. I'm guessing Cookie wants to try and go mediums to softs. Because yeah, he's losing time, like quite a lot of time at the moment. But can he gain it back by going onto the softs? I mean, we saw how fast the softs were when Tommy was on the softs. He was jogging along pretty quick. In certain circumstances, he was consistently going for moves, and you could tell that he was consistently. What's it? You can. Oh, words aren't happening. My mind's just gone completely blank. Pablos, great move. Yeah, as I'm saying, my corner, my favourite corner, we're seeing lots of overtaking opportunities. Actually, you know what? Other than Sector 1, it's overtake central, this place. Everyone's overtaken. It's really good. That's rare. Like, to get this many consistent, like, overtakes happening constantly, that's good going, in my opinion. As there we go, Pablos fastest lap. There's a couple of people coming into the pit lane, including J Horse, not including Mr. Cookie, who's now lost 2 seconds since we started talking about it a lap ago. 2 seconds. That ain't good. What I worry is like the Ferrari's going to be nearly caught up with Cookie, and then Cookie's going to have to pit. Whether he's hoping for a safety car or not, that's another thing. Because that could work, getting a safety car. Sorry, I'm just reading the numbers right now, just trying to picture how this race could unfold. Because it could unfold in a whole manner of ways, right? Because obviously the hards will be slowing, but obviously the medium should slow it up. There we go. We don't have to worry about if he was going to stay out for any longer, but he is, because he hasn't. Mr. Cookie into the pits. Hards, I'm guessing. Softs. He's going for the softs. It's going to be a long stint, but he's going for the softs. He's lost a lot of positions as well. He's not going to lose any more, I highly, highly doubt. As there we go, he's back up to racing speeds. He's going to come out in front of, significantly in front of Ballint. So, he's got, quite luckily, sort of in his circumstance, he's got Prodigy, Pablos, Anthony, and Kresnos. That sounds like a lot of people. But, Kresnos has a penalty. Anthony, Pablos have been literally matching each other for pace constantly. So they're constantly fighting with each other, which is actually quite helpful for his circumstance. Because it means that, just sneak past whilst they're having a scrap. And all he's got to do is get past Prodigy and just catch up to these slightly in front runners. As there we go, Anthony into the lead of the race. How long is it going to stay for? Because Kresnos looks to try and go around the outside, doesn't quite pull off. So there we go, Anthony into the lead of the race. I don't know whether this is, the first time that he's led. I'm not too sure. Either way, Mr. Cookie is 1.8 seconds. Oh no, my controller's dying. Luckily, my phone is on charge, and it was right next to my controller. So I can just nick that charger. Perfect. as Kresnos opting to not go for a move. So what is that penalty? Penalty's 3 seconds for Kresnos. So he's in a position right now. He's going to fall to like 5th place, right? He's falling back quite far. Unfortunately, because everybody else around him hasn't got any penalties, because we're up towards the front. It's a lot cleaner, a lot more concise. He has kind of ruined his race there with that 3-second time penalty. Pablos looks to try and get it to the outside. He's going to have to go to the inside to finish it off. That should be a help. Swooping around the outside, a little bit more momentum, and he does indeed get himself through. There you go, J-Horse with a 129.824 for the fastest lap of the race so far. He's currently in P11, as Mr. Cookie is now right on the back of Prodigy, and in theory should be looking to make a move here. We will have DRS as we open, but so does Prodigy. Can he get him in the braking zone? It should be fairly logical for him to be able to at least get a significant braking advantage, which is exactly what's happened. And he can swoop through on those soft tyres. They just completely outdo any other driver out on track at the moment. He is by far and away the fastest man out there. Marak will be one of the fastest men soon, but he's got to let those tyres warm up first. He's only on his first lap out there, whereas Cookie is on his hot lap. He's on the fastest lap he will have all race, most likely, as he now hunts down the front 3. Anthony has been able to really make the most of Kresnos here and has begun to pull away almost immediately, as Mr. Cookie's still closing in, as Pablos actually looking to probably go for a move on Kresnos here, I can imagine. He's going to swap to the inside. Mr. Cookie was 129.3, going significantly faster than anybody has all day. And will try and now look to make the most of that manoeuvre. That has slowed down the Ferrari, and I think he is going to be able to go around the outside. He soars through at a rate of knots. Actually, the Ferrari trying to come back and fight a little bit. He's going to have to succeed in that position there. Cookie just far too quick on those soft tyres. So let me take a quick look at the fastest lap so far. So before that was J-Horse at 129.8, and that's now 129.3. It's a lot. It's a lot. So Mr. Cookie has got about 2.4 seconds now. That gap between himself and the leader, Anthony. 9 laps, 10 really. But more importantly for Cookie, right? He's got to get himself. He's got to make the most of these tyres whilst they're fresh and get himself in front. But then he's also got to not waste them, because his worry will be come the last few laps he's going to be really slow, because those tyres are going to completely have gone off. They're going to be ruined. They'll be completely finished. So he's got to, balance it. I mean, he's taking chunks out of out of Pablos's time, that gap. It's coming down at a rate of knots. Half a second. It was a second by the time we hit that braking zone in sector 3. Taken half a second out of him in that time. Also, interestingly, Pablos hasn't gotten DRS here, I don't think. So Cookie should really be able to get past here. No DRS for the AlphaTauri, DRS for Mr. Cookie, and with a good braking zone, nearly tipping into DRS zone of Anthony, yet now he has. So Mr. Cookie continues his triumph run through these front guys to see if he can get himself back up into the lead of this race after attempting the alternate strategy. So everybody else has done mediums to hards, and Cookie's betting on the medium soft. I don't know what Marak's done. Has he done... How many stops has he done? Penalty stops. He's done a 2-stopper. Hence why he's gone onto the tyre, onto the softs, because he can choose whatever tyre he wants. He doesn't have to worry about where he was getting onto them late enough. Obviously, I'm guessing damage related. As there he goes, DRS open. Cookie re-overtakes for the lead of the race. As interestingly enough, his teammate Kodoy just about to be lapped. It's one Williams at the front, one Williams at the back, as I think Pavlos has managed to get himself into P2 there. Out of that run with Mr. Cookie. So, interesting enough, Pavlos making the most of that. He's on ever so slightly fresher tyres than Anthony, but it's not really enough to make all that much of a difference. But Mr. Cookie has already broken that second barrier, and I'm guessing that they probably did pick up DRS. No, they didn't. They didn't pick up DRS. Well, at least the AlphaTauri didn't pick up DRS, so that's going to allow Anthony to once again re-overtake and get P2. So this is looking convincing for Mr. Cookie now. Though, interestingly enough, he's still sat behind his teammate. I'm guessing he'll probably want to try and ever so slightly stay behind. Even if he loses a couple of tenths by doing so, because he's now behind his teammate, he gets DRS down this straight. Off he goes into the distance, like a little fairy, just flying off into the future. As I think Anthony is under a big threat here. He's gone for the late break move. Can he get it done in the AlphaTauri? Yes, he can. Oh, fantastic move by the Alpha. Oh, what on earth happened there? I think he just got onto the curb, interestingly enough, and just jotted about all over the place. But both drivers still no damage, no visible damage anyway. And Pavlos into P2 as Kresnos actually beginning to come under fire from Prodigy. But nevertheless, who will lose that position to the penalties either way. Right, the track has quietened down after our fiasco at the front, but Blackbone hasn't quite finished his mission just yet. He is sat right on the back of Jezza, and by the looks of it, interested in getting past. Jezza, this is an important position, especially 4 points, so he'll be interested in trying to keep himself in front. Obviously, if he loses the place to DRS, he always gets DRS in just a moment's time. You're never too far away from a DRS zone around this track. Really, so long as you survive Sector 1, you are absolutely fine. And the Mercedes does indeed get himself up to P8. Jezza's going to have to work hard now to try and re-overtake. He probably won't opt to try and let J-Horse through, even though he is on the softer set of tyres. Simply due to the fact that he has a penalty, so it won't make all that much difference to the team anyway. In fact, he's got enough of a penalty. He's going to stay where he is at the moment. J-Horse is pretty much set for P10. And by the looks of it, Jezza will indeed get himself back past Blackbone, having to subside into P9. And there we go, them coming out of the corner now. Just looking back up towards the front, Anthony and Pavlos still going at it. In other news, the sky is still blue and the grass is still green. I.e., nothing has changed. As J-Horse has now managed to get past Blackbone, and I think J-Horse will now just work as a barrier. Don't let Blackbone back through again. Just protect his teammate and protect those points that he will be gathering by gaining that extra position just there. Likelihood is, unless Balliant has got absolutely huge amounts of penalties. Oh, I think the McLaren just slightly overshot that. Could be a possible switchback move for the AlphaTauri. No, it's not going to be. It's actually quite difficult to get a switchback done there. You just constant changes of direction, causing absolute nightmare fuel. Shall I tell you what as well? That's beginning to level out that time. In fact, actually, going down that main straight, Mr. Cookie and his teammate, is so quick. Kodoi, for a 41 rated AI, I know that because I set it to that. He's quick, isn't he? He's very quick. I don't know whether Cookie's doing it intentionally or not, but he's making the most of it. As there we go, Pavlos getting himself past Anthony once again, down the start-finish straight. This is going to be tense right to the very end. I genuinely have no idea which one of these two drivers is going to land that P2. It could genuinely be either of them. And I absolutely love that fact. I love that fact that it could be either of them. I love how J Horse. Oh, Jezza picked up a penalty. Oh, I was about to say I love how J Horse just completely neglected his teammate, and then he realised that his teammate has a penalty. So now J Horse wants 2 second gap. Nah, not impossible, not exactly plausible. This is close. Oh, a little bit of contact made again. They keep making contacts at that point. It's really interesting to see them sort of fight for this manner. I can't lie, right? Seeing a McLaren and AlphaTauri fight, it just brings me back to the Lifebout and the Rick VE days. Season 3. If you were back there, if you were back with us back then, you are an OG, and you have my respect, my wholehearted respect. Anthony probably not going to be able to get a move done just here. No, he's not. He'll have to wait for another time. As Mr. Cookie now 3.3 seconds ahead. He's looking fairly comfortable, isn't he? As J Horse, interestingly, has managed to get himself past our Henson. J Horse is on a mission. He's on a mission. And that mission is actually kind of working, interestingly enough. Unfortunately, though, with that time penalty, it just puts a whole heap of constraints on him as to what sort of positions he can garnish from that. Additionally, for Kresnos as well, he'll lose out that place to Prodigy. But other than that, he's not going to lose out any more places. So it's not exactly the end of the world as Murat gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's always one that you don't really want to receive, but there we go. That's life. As Pablos are kind of controlling this a little bit better at the moment. Kresnos also beginning to get involved, so that will be interesting to see how that goes down. And how they fare. Grab a quick drink. I've barely drunk anything today. In this race, that is. I drink quite a lot during the day. And oh, I think Pablos went a little bit wide there because Anthony has managed to try and have a look. Well, I'd say try and have a look. He nearly got his nose in front, but it just wasn't quite enough. And all of a sudden, that's putting him under threat from the Ferrari. He manages to keep himself in position for now, but that Ferrari showing that he is interested in getting past and maybe trying to extend his gap. So, you know, he might just sneak a P3, you never know. But I think Pablos is just beginning to control this that little bit better. In fact, actually, he's just broken that second margin. I wonder if Anthony picked up a little bit of damage there, you know. He really struggled through Sector 1. And actually, he hasn't got any DRS, which will be really detrimental down this road. I mean, he gained half a second pretty much, which is really good. Especially considering he didn't have DRS and he gained half a second. That's good going, you know. Kodoy, 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Isn't that interesting that an AI is getting corner cutting penalties? How does that work? How does the AI get corner cut? Isn't the AI supposed to be, you know, like stick to the rules? And especially not pick up 9 seconds worth of penalties. I think Kresnos is going to go for it. He is going to go for it. Can he get it made? Nearly. The McLaren will have the inside line here down into the main straight. He'll have DRS as well, and I think that's just about going to keep the McLaren in place. Really, the Ferrari, you need to get past, and you need to get a couple of tenths in front as well out of the back straight. Otherwise, you are just totally screwed for the start finish. I know it's only a much shorter straight, but it's damaging enough as Hazard there just leaving the session. I'm guessing network issues. As now TPL Anthony, he's got 2 more-ish laps, 2.5 laps to go. 2 more of those back straights, 1 more of every other straight. 6/10. Kresnos a half a second back, but there's a 3-second time penalty. It's going to make his life a lot more challenging. Can he do it? It's 9/10 now. Heading onto that back straight is going to be enough for him to pick up DRS, but the Ferrari will probably be interested in trying to get past. Can he go for the move? The Ferrari is indeed going to go for the move. It feels like it's exactly the same move again and again and again. The McLaren is going to be able to defend fairly well through it, and does indeed get himself back up into P3 on track, and with DRS he should be able to close in that gap once again, as Ferrari's going to go for a late break dive bomb into turn 1, and he is going to nearly go side by side on the final lap of the race. Ferrari inside line here, around the right hand of the McLaren. We'll have the inside line here. Is he going to go for the move? No, he's not. He's going to tuck in behind the Ferrari, probably aware that that is his opportunities at P2 gone now. 1.5 seconds gaps. Kresnos and Pablos puts TPO Anthony in a really nasty position. In fact, if anything, I feel almost kind of bad for him, because he had that opportunity to go for it, but Kresnos has shut him down in the knowledge that he will not gain that position anyway. He's gonna lose it anyway, as he does so immediately down this back straight, and probably won't contest it. No, he doesn't. It's 1.4 now between Anthony and Pablos, and I feel a battle that has raged this entire race has died on the very last lap. All of a sudden, a gap that was once 0.4 of a second nearly for 20 laps straight, 1.8 now. But we're going to have to cut to this man at the front, because honestly, he's put on an amazing example of what he's got in the locker room. As he comes round the final corner now, the Williams driver shows his British pride, taking back the motherland. Mr. Cookie wins in Miami. And Pablos taking home P2 there. Anthony P3, and Prodigy takes home P4 after that Kresnos penalty. I guess Kresnos was probably trying to get that gap, get that over that 1 second gap to break free of Prodigy, but it was just a little bit too late. J Horse as well, picking up a 5-second penalty for an unserved penalty. He takes home a P7. Actually, he's done really well there to deliberate that penalty. As the last couple of gentlemen make their way past, the people just behind, they were a lap down, hence why they finished before them. So Hazard just coming down the main straight now, and into the braking zone for what has been a surprisingly good race. I have really wholeheartedly enjoyed it, actually. I know all of us are always a little bit, oh, it's the United States, is it going to be alright? Is it Miami? It's Miami, is it actually going to be good? But, wow, really great race. So congratulations to the Williams team and taking home a P1 today. They thoroughly deserved it, with the alternate strategy paying off. So with that, Mr. Cookie takes home a win from starting P4 on the grid. We thought it was going to be such an issue. He fell down right at the very start of the race, but in turn created an actually brilliant performance of strategy and race pace. So he takes home the win today, as Pablos comes home P2 for the AlphaTauri team. Anthony in P3 for McLaren and Prodigy P4 for Red Bull. Kresnos P5 for Ferrari and Balence P6 for Red Bull. J Horse P7 for Aston Martin and R Henson P8 for Haas. Blackbone P9 for Mercedes and Jezza P10 for Aston Martin. Marek P11 for Haas and Hazard P12 for Alpine. Alligator P13 for the AlphaTauri team and Kodoy P14 for Williams. Caden P15 for Ferrari and Jacalaco P16 for Mercedes-Benz. And Tommy in P17 for Alfa Romeo Kick, with the Ferrari of Caden and below DNFing from the race. Join us back in just a moment whilst I sort out some interviews. Alrighty, and welcome back, everybody. We are back. We've only got one person with our interview today, but it's not the end of the world because we've actually, of all people, we've got our race winner, Mr. Cookie. What a race that was, wasn't it? Hello, Cookie. Cookie. Oh no, Cookie's died, everybody. Hang on. See if we can. Cookie.
Hello.
Oh, that's loud. Yeah. Hello. Right. Okay. Um, that was a very good race, to say the very least, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that, considering I started P4. I thought my qualifying that was really good because I was only a couple hundredths off my time trial time, and then I just got beaten by three different people. I think it was J Horse who took pole in the end. Oh no, Christian, sorry. So congratulations to him for that. JSP2, Blackburn P4. So congratulations to them. But yeah, I did not think that's actually how the Miami race would go after the couple of laps I've actually driven a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, talk. We need to hear about the strategy because I think out of everything, that was what went most well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was, but my tire wear just wasn't as bad as other people's. It just kind of, I don't know what it was. It just worked really well. Um, Not sure why, but yeah, like everyone else, I think just boxed for hards, and I just didn't really think that was the right choice because even though they get like an undercut, you just catch up so quickly. So I was like, I'll just stick out on the mediums. I got to about 70% tire wear, and then I was like, okay, I'll come in, go some softs, try and just blitz it as quickly as I can, and then just from then on, it was really, really good. And yeah, I'm just pretty happy overall because Miami really didn't feel like a good track for me, especially when I was doing time trial. Um, a couple of practice laps, it just felt like I couldn't get a power down sector one. But then, yeah, in this race, just everything connected and so good. So very happy.
Yeah, I mean, you were pretty much, for the most part, racing for a fair chunk of the race. But I mean, at the end there, I know obviously you came out behind quite a few people, but with about 10 laps remaining. Were you particularly confident in your abilities to get past, or did you think all this might actually be quite a challenge?
I was actually really confident going into it because the only thing I was worrying about was my fuel. But then I've got such like a big tire advantage, and it was just like I kind of know what's going to happen if I got fresh softs against people that are on about 5 level old hards at that point, and it's pretty much like a whitewash, especially in Miami because the tire wear is quite high. I think for other people, but just I don't know how, but on my setup it just seemed fine enough, and everything else seemed okay. I think the only thing I struggled on was the long left. I think is sector one, like the very long left for the end of the sector. So yeah, other than that, that's yeah, it felt really nice. And I don't know if you saw a couple of my moves. I think I made a couple of moves at Questions. I really love them. I said them in
Yeah.
the general chat as well. And I think that the soft tire one, the one on lap 20, I think that was one of the best ones I've done on the game, really. So yeah, I'm just really happy with the result. And yeah, had the low fuel scare in the last couple of laps, and I was about point 0.4 down, but I just had such an advantage; it was ridiculous. So I was all okay for that as well. So I'm very happy.
Mm. And you got kind of lucky as well, didn't you, with your teammate, your ghosted teammate, being a bit of a help along the way, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was like it helped definitely because it definitely get me DRS down the long back straight at the end because that's like the most key bit for it. But then a couple of times it was a little bit annoying because I'm kind of sat there trying to navigate sector two, and then there's a ghosted car kind of sitting right next to me, and it's just that was the only thing that really annoyed me about it. But I appreciate the extra couple tenths from each straight, so yeah, Cody, for listening. Thank you very much. But occasionally get out the way.
Oh well. Shall we take your three-word race roundup?
Very good strategy. That's what I'm gonna say. Very simple, very easy.
Yeah, I think I can't agree more. Everybody else went for pretty much a medium to hard strategy. That was the given, and I've got to say I
Mm.
was watching you sort of as you were doing it, and I was watching you lose time, and I was thinking, what's he doing? He's losing too much time here. He's not going to be able to catch up. And then I thought, hang on, he's leaving this long enough. He might be able to get onto the softs. How was the softs damage right at the very end?
I think they're about like pretty similar to the medians. I think they're about 65%, but they still like they didn't feel perfect, but they still felt like really good for that like lap old tires. And yeah, once again, don't know if it was just my setup or anything, but I think everyone just kind of went with the wrong thing. And I would probably say boxed maybe a bit too early because I think on occasion, I think some people even box lap 12 to fit on the softs because the undercut's powerful, but then your pace like really slows down after a couple of laps from what I saw. So yeah, other than that, just thought going on to the softs was a really good idea and just saw where it took me and then worked really well. So yeah, very happy I've done something different and it also works out. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, after the all the attempts that you love an alternate strategy, don't you? So after all the attempts, it's nice to see it's paid off quite handsomely.
Yeah, definitely very happy with it.
Oh well. On that note, congratulations on the win, and look forward to seeing you
Thank you very much.
next week.
Thank you.
Righty, that just about sums up today. Thank you all very much for watching. I've been the Castatistics. Thank you, and good night.